Hello. How are you? Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. You, my viewer who's watching in the future, I have to ask you, can you see how long this video is? Now, can you subliminally, telepathically, time-travelly send that date, that duration back in time so that I know how long to stream? Got it. That's exactly how long we're going to stream for today. Thank you, viewer from the future. I see our first guests are arriving. Hello, dear Jill and Simon Aladdin. Thank you. And hello, dear Nick. Dear user 953 and Francesca, welcome. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hello, dear Ro. That means may the divine protect us both together. May the divine nourish us both together. May our study be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. May there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Hello, dear Magdalene. Everyone who is joining, know that you are feeling, well, I can't tell you what you're feeling, but know that whatever you're feeling is valid. But if you want to tell me what you're feeling, well, I'd be happy to hold space for that. Yes, happy Thanksgiving, dear Andrew. Lots of things to be thankful for. Right now, I am thankful for you, dear viewers. Thank you for being here. Radhe, Radhe, dear AP. Jill and Simon Aladdin, you are feeling very cozy and grateful. I'm happy to hear that. You feel me? I'm happy to hear that, dear the real Mir. Hello, dear Isaac. Thank you for sharing the line. The line. We've only got so much bandwidth on the line. The stream is actually running through a tin can connected to another tin can with some fishing line. So thank you for sharing the line. Now thank you for sharing the live, dear Magdalene. And thank you, dear Jill and Simon Aladdin, for your pair of tiny tinies. Yippee! Hello, dear Queen of Air. AP, you share spirituality is embedded in your soul. Love it. That's why we call it the spirit. Hello, dear Sheila. Allow me to set the intentions for this space as being a welcoming environment, open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. These things can be used to create tension, but they don't have to. And I think all of our diversity actually speaks to our unity, if you look at it from another way. Hello, dear Walia. For example, all of the colors of a rainbow speak to the harmony of light, the full spectrum. All of the different sounds that you can make on an instrument, they can come together to make beautiful notes and chords and melodies. And all of our differences really speak to the whole that we're part of and the infinite source that we all must have come from. Hello, dear Ragnhildur. Dear Wolfgang, you ask, have I read the Bible? I've got a really big Bible near me. You should see it. It's huge. It even has the apocryphal text in it. But no, I don't think I've ever read the whole Bible. Needs more pictures. I would love, if they had gone with, a series of books rather than just one. They could have more room for illustrations and stuff like. They could even make it into a comic. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to the second edition. The Bible 2. Yes, that is true. You gotta go whiz before you can go brr, as the ancient proverb goes. Hello, dear Tim. Dear Queen of Fair, you are curious about alchemy lately, especially the first step, which is Negredo. Interesting. I wonder if that etymologically has to do with a word for dark or darkness. I'm not sure about the first step of alchemy. I am not a trained alchemist myself. I wouldn't know. Hello, dear Walia. Where am I from? Ultimately, you'll never guess, but the exact same universe as you. In fact, not just the same universe, but the same frickin' galaxy, the Milky Way. And not just the same galaxy, the same solar system. And you'll never believe this. We're not even from the same solar system. We're from the same frickin' planet in the solar system. Isn't that pretty cool? Now, what are the chances of that? What are the chances of us not only being in the same universe, same galaxy, same solar system, but same planet that we're all from? That's pretty cool. Hello, dear Mariam. That is true, dear Wolfgang. The New Testament is practically the second edition. Yeah. Hello, dear Riri. Dear Talon. Actually, when I was younger, I did have a Bible picture book. It was pretty graphic. I don't think it was my favorite book, to be completely honest. I much preferred Goodnight Moon and the book with all the letters in it, alphabet book. Hello, dear Kevin. Thank you for your heart to me, by the way. Welcome, dear Strawberry Star Bunny. Yam is from Spain without the S. That's right. It is for darkness, dear Queen of Fair. Interesting. Well, yes. Spiritual journey often begins when the world around us becomes dark. So we have to go to find our inner light. Yeah. I am from... This body is from Canada. Namaste, dear Dr. Jenny. And darlings, that's a very cute word. Thank you, Star. My goodness. I'm just adding the titles to your name, dear Strawberry Star Bunny. I was going to call you Starlight Strawberry Star Bunny. But thank you for your rosa. Om Namah Shivaya. Hello, dear Sky Guardian. I see you're feeling rajasic at the moment. Hello, dear JRC. You ask, what do I think about eating animals? Is it wrong? Well, I know that I wouldn't like to be eaten. Preferably not. If I had a choice, I would probably choose to not be eaten. But it's in our culture. It is tradition. It's a great survival food if you're ever in a survival situation. Fortunately, I am not in a survival situation, so it is okay. Hello, dear Lalaine. Oh, geez. That's how you know me? Mm-hmm. Dear Ariels, you ask, did I find a way to go back in time? That's what you asked me tomorrow. Glad you like the music, dear Mari, huh? We're all going to read from another section. Well, at least I am. You're going to listen if you want. You know, I can't choose for you to listen or not, but I like to start off my lives with a little section from a reading, so we'll get into that in a second. Why is there elevator music? Asked Sky Guardian. Because we're ascending. We're going higher. Hello, dear Ren Fox. Yeah, it's Wednesday jazz night. Yeah. Dear Queen of Fair, you ask, do I believe in astral projection or have I tried it? That is something we do every night. Mm-hmm. Another name for the astral world is the dream world, or in Sanskrit, sukshma, which means subtle, referring to the subtle impressions of our subconscious. Is this jazz for Gregorji? Asks Ragnhildr. Yes, but not just Gregorji. To everyone who likes jazz. Mm-hmm. Hello, dear hashtag. You ask, where do I live? Hopefully, rent-free in your heart. Hello, dear Hihi. Naomi, welcome. You wonder how I am in this now moment. I'm feeling like a squirrel on a zip line, if you know what I mean. You love the jazz, dear Talon. Good. I'm happy to hear that. And thank you for sharing the live, dear Ragnhildr. And thank you, dear Devin, for your liking of the live. All right, I would like to continue where we left off. Read another little bit of Moksha, Liberation, the journey of an American woman in India. In her pursuit of her true self, she's secretly the divine mother of the universe, Parvati, but she's forgotten her true self, and so she's being led to realize that she is on her way to meet some very, very wealthy man, very powerful and wealthy man. When I'd introduced Herr Gerhardt, the wealthy and powerful man, and trophy wife 4 to my parents, there'd been blatant disdain for my sickly mother's orthopedic shoes, for my father's grey sweater and slacks, for their low aspirations and high moral code. Until that moment, I had considered ourselves well off, privileged and lucky. My father had built a successful insurance agency from scratch. We lived in a large white house in an affluent town where we were members of the country club. I had an idyllic childhood. But to the Gerhardts, people like us were pawns, to be pushed around, sheep to be led, who could never aspire to their world of the super-rich, the gang of thieves who had taken control, who never paid taxes as a matter of pride, and who made all the decisions. It had not taken long for me to be seduced by the private jets, the yachts, the ski chalet, the island, the stone farmhouse in the south of France, the half-empty $20,000 bottle of wine carelessly discarded, the easy access to recreational drugs. I'd enthusiastically embraced my new status as an ornament, a caryatid in a Greek temple, without a hair out of place, knowing full well that to such people, my master's degree in English literature, summa cum laude, if that's how you pronounce it, from Yale, ranked lower than a stint at Le Rosey. What did it matter? I had won the lottery. Helmut Gerhardt, CEO, master of the universe, took a stance at the floor-to-ceiling blue glass, his back to me, staring ahead as if assessing the expanse of the cosmos and what his cut might be, or simply contemplating the acquisition of the gleaming buildings across the four-lane thoroughfare. We were ensconced in a plush wood-paneled conference room on the 15th floor of an office building in Gurgaon, a fancy suburb of the capital. Gurgaon, I'm not sure how to pronounce this either, marketed itself as a financial and technology hub that provided businessmen with critical access to members of parliament and lesser politicians who swarmed the capital perpetually in search of funding sources. Gerhardt had made his fortune by plundering the planet of its treasures and leaving devastation behind, and now he had his eye on plundering the ocean floor. Grab anything you can get your hands on was his self-righteous, Calvinistic work ethic, which he inculcated into his two sons, Jonas the pedophile and Rory, my fiancé, the hapless suicide. "What do you want?" he barked in that heavily accented English of the Gestapo. This was the question he asked me when Rory and I began dating. "What do you want?" I'd wanted nothing then, but I did want something now. Hello, Shellyfish. "Money," I said. "I have in my possession something incriminating. Video evidence of Jonas and..." "Where is this so-called video? Do you have it? Here?" he snarled. "Videos, plural," I said. Rory emailed them to me before he... "The file is currently with a human rights lawyer in the US. She'll go to the press. Expose Jonas, unless..." We love blackmailing the elite. He turned from the glass, red-faced, jowly, with wisps of badly colored blonde hair pasted across a large head. He looked me up and down in a frank appraisal. "This climate has not been kind to you," he said. "You are no longer beautiful. Rory would not want you, and now you are just another petty blackmailer. This is not over." He growled and was gone. I felt a jolt of fear, then immediately dismissed it. I was in the driver's seat. I held all the cards. What could he do? I rolled out a set of architectural drawings on the expansive glass conference table, modeled as a slab of ice, and took a seat. After a few moments of hushed silence, a pale young man in a tight-fitting black suit glided in to let me know that Mrs. Padma Narayan, director of Gerhardt Charities, would be joining me. And would I like some tea? "Nothing for me," I said. The floor-to-ceiling glass door closed soundlessly behind him. He was soon followed by a plump, middle-aged woman in a maroon silk sari and adorned with a heavy gold necklace and diamond earrings. Her thick black hair was twisted into an intricate bun entwined with a string of jasmine. A large red dot graced the wide forehead of her perfectly round, pretty face. Her lively black eyes, lined with kohl, quickly took me in. Pardon me. She pulled up a chair, reached for the drawings, scanned the proposed plan for the convent grounds, and asked a few perceptive questions. I responded, using terms like infrastructure, sustainability, women's health, education, for the greater good, and giving back. I presented spreadsheets with estimates, uses of funds, risks, strategies for recovery, the project team, and forecasts. "How wonderful!" she gushed. "You know, I went to convent schools. Such good work those nuns do. This development will suit Gerhardt Charities very nicely. A valuable addition to our portfolio of good works. Chairman Gerhardt is a most generous man. Now let us call your excellent Mother Gabriel. I'll put her on speaker." Mother Gabriel's voice held an unholy pleasure when she was informed of this unexpected windfall. She might have been Midas fingering his gold coins, but her sharp intake of breath held her extreme displeasure at being further instructed that all funds would be deposited into my account and dispersed solely by me. "I'll be back in a few days, Mother," I chimed in before she could object, and I disconnected. "Padma," I turned to her with an ingratiating smile, ignoring her shock and possible annoyance at my familiarity, first names being reserved for servants and small children. "I must remain here until the funds are transferred in case there's a hitch, but rather than bake in the sweltering heat, I'd like to go up to the mountains, to Rishikesh, not far from here." "I know where Rishikesh is," she said, somewhat stonily. "I'll need a hotel for tonight, preferably with a spa. I have years of embedded grime. And please arrange for a car and driver to take me to Rishikesh. I'm meeting an old friend." "Certainly," she said, giving in. "We have a company suite at the," she named a luxury hotel, "where you can spend the night. Has an excellent spa. Our driver will pick you up tomorrow morning for your trip to Rishikesh." I rolled up my drawings, gathered the spreadsheets, and left. That night, after lengthy Shirodara and Abhyangam treatments at the hotel spa, I ordered a complex, healthful dinner of many tasty courses to be served in my room. I was tempted to call my associate Pepe back, but held myself from doing so. I had to first make sure that the money to purchase the girls had been deposited into my account. I could not bear to face his disappointment if the deal with Gerhardt fell through. The thought that Gerhardt had given in too easily flitted through my mind, but I set these doubts aside. My demands were meager and would not even register in the Gerhardt Industries balance sheet, and would in fact demonstrate clear evidence of the company's goodwill, a valuable asset when dealing with a cankerous or cantankerous and unpredictable government. The destruction of the videos would protect Jonas, whose reputation could not be sullied. The final sweetening of the pot was my suggestion that the clinic be named Rory Gerhardt Clinic for Women and Children. That night I fell into the bliss of an untroubled, dreamless sleep. The phone rang. The limo that would take me to Rishikesh was downstairs, waiting. The morning was cool, the air fresh after heavy rains the night before. Jatayu, the driver, was a dark, ascetic man in an incongruous orange and gold turban and matching jacket laden with epaulets and gold braid. He expertly maneuvered the silver SUV through the congestion of Delhi and on the open road past packed buses with passengers on roofs hanging off the sides alongside gunny sacks of melons, cabbages, and coconuts. I was in high spirits and nothing could dampen my mood. I happily hummed to myself and considered my next steps. My first order of business would be to pay off the village headman and rescue the abusive girls. Pepe and I would then take on the management of the building program for the convent, which would provide us with a steady income for at least 2 years. We would find the girls a suitable home, and once they were settled, Pepe and I could return to civilization, to New York, to London, to a place where we could begin to live at last. After we had gone some distance, Jatayu wordlessly pointed to a sign that read, Kurukshetra, the site of another ancient Indian Holocaust, another world war thousands of years ago with a horrific number of casualties that also failed to end another world war. I opened the paperback, the Mandukya Upanishad, that Hari had given me, 12 short, impenetrable sentences followed by a lengthy commentary, none of which was accessible to me. I was not concerned. I was on my way to see Sid. He would know. He would explain. We sped north, gradually rising in elevation, and covered the 150 miles or so in good time. And that's the end of the 4th chapter of the 2nd part. But there is another layer to the story. This is not merely the story of human beings, but of gods and demons. Here is the layer of the story from the demon's point of view. The archdemon, Gerhard, his back to the woman, had not been assessing the cosmos or even hankering after real estate when he appeared to be salivating over the shiny buildings of Gurgaon. He was gloating over the ease with which he would stop her from remembering. It was laughable that this time archaic teachings were to be dredged up to revive her memory. Centuries ago, the boy, Rama, had been sent to defeat the great demon, Ravana, who had kidnapped his beloved Sita. Handsome Ravana, a gentleman, a scholar, a musical genius, a great ruler, loved by his people, handled his captive, gentle Sita with kid gloves. But in this cycle of darkness, of unprecedented violence, misery and terror, demons were on the ascendant. Thus when he, Gerhard, the fiercest of all demons in all periods of time, took in the woman's stupid optimism, an American of course, he knew victory was certain and that the conquest of the 3 worlds was well within his reach. But when he turned to face the woman, he felt an uncharacteristic twinge of pity for her foolish smile of triumph at pulling a fast one on him. He would make her suffer. The gloves were truly off this time around. Gerhard smiled, setting off a tremor that reverberated for miles. Thank you for listening. So, another episode in the story of our dear protagonist. She's on her way to get the girls that dear Pepe had been taking care of, using blackmail with her connection of her previous husband, Rory, who had unfortunately passed away. And also to see Sid, the yogic master of the ancient sciences, to continue her quest to understand the secrets of immortality. I hope to continue next time. Namaste. That concludes our Shravana, our listening portion of the Sangha. Now we can transition to Manana, the Q&A portion of the Sangha, and my attention is all on you. Thank you to those who sent a gift while we were reading. And hello everyone who joined. Welcome back, dear Elizabeth. My Christmas walk was very well, Nomi. Thank you for asking. Thank you, dear Edwards, for the pair of roses that you had sent. Dum Durgai Namaha. Howdy, dear Rhiannon. And thank you for sharing the live. Same to you, dear Ragnhildur. Good to see you, dear Waterwind. Dear Talita, thank you for the heart me that you had sent to. Rhiannon, you're making yam curry right now? Right now? You're making me curry? Thank you. I look forward to it. Or are you making yam curry? Curry made out of yams. Thank you, dear Giuliano, for the heart me you had sent. Brahm Bhairvaya Namo Namaha. Dear Dadbot, you ask, is free will an illusion? There's an ancient saying that you are not the doer. What this ancient saying means is that you are not the one that creates the results of your actions. The results of our actions are created by the universe, by nature. That nature decides that for us. But actions are absolutely our responsibility. They are carried out by the body, instructed by the mind, of which we are neither. But ultimately there is a kind of guidance, because there is an awareness, that much we know. We all can agree that we have awareness. What we're aware of, we may disagree. The nature of the awareness, we may disagree. But there is a kind of witnessing, perceiving, experiencing happening. And clearly, that experiencing, that witnessing, that perceiving, it's not a passive phenomenon. What we look at appears to change. Whatever we bring this awareness to, this whole system is set in motion in relation to that. If you bring your mind to, let's say, a feeling in your, just below your belly, that there's a little pressure there, then the mind may follow that awareness and form the thought that your bladder is full, for example, and then according to that thought, the body may lift itself from the seat and go to the bathroom, and the toilet gets flushed. What part of that did we have the free will over? The awareness. The awareness was free. Thank you, dear Anna, for your ice cream cone. You have the freedom to be aware. Jai Satchitanandam. Dear Ren Fox, thank you for your tiny nippy. And dear Nicole, thank you for your tiny too. Yahoo! And your 1, 2, 3 for 5, 6 roses. Ariom Tatsat. And now, dear Coney. Dear Dadbot, you ask, but are there any choices made in a vacuum? Do we control our thoughts? No choice is made in a vacuum, because we can always make choices based on what we've experienced. But we get to choose which experiences we're basing our choices off of. For example, if you lived in childhood trauma, then let's say you might choose to not go outside of your house that day because you're scared of being vulnerable, if you're keeping the trauma in mind. Or if you keep the therapy in mind, then maybe that affects your choice in a different way. Do we control our thoughts? We don't get to choose what thoughts we have, But we do get to choose what thoughts we keep, what thoughts we want to stay with in that moment to guide our actions. Don't we? Queen of Fair, you ask, so fate exists? Well, think about it. If you're living unconsciously, then the rest of your life is basically already decided for you. If you are not making conscious decisions on how to lead your life, then your fate's basically already set in stone. What happens can practically be predicted. If you don't change as a person, if you don't evolve, then whatever happens in the future can be extrapolated from the way you're living now. But if you're living consciously, if you're living with strive to change something every day, then nobody can determine your future. Maybe large general themes, but no small specific features that are always up to you in the moment. And thank you for sharing the life, dear buddy. Dear Daniel is bored. You ask, what if we are experiencing the universe as it forms its consciousness? Or what if we are consciousness experiencing the universe as its form? The universe is made up of form. Prakriti, it's called in Sanskrit. And consciousness is the formless from which it has come, called in this context as Purusha. Thank you, dear Nero Converging, for your heart me. Om Hrim Namah Shivaya. And thank you, dear Kev, for your fast burst. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you for the subscription, dear John F. I look forward to being able to serve you in any way that I can and learn from you too. It is Jazz Night. Hare Krishna. Dear Sandra, thank you for your heart me as well. Hari Om Tat Sat. That is right, dear Scott. From the physical standpoint in neuroscience, the scientific consensus is that nature appears to be more deterministic than not. But not all physical laws are equations. If something has an equation, then it is completely determined. But there are some physical laws that are inequalities, which state that there is a little leeway. For example, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, that the product between something's energy and the time that it exists as that energy, it has an inequality, that it's not given absolutely. For example, virtual particles can pop into existence, and they're allowed to stay, but not for an exact amount of time. There's a kind of probability measure there. So, if scientifically there is room for probabilistic dependent events, you could say that a true choice, a true free choice, is indistinguishable from true randomness. Because a true free choice means that you could never predict whether it's going to be this way or that way. Well, that's exactly the same as true randomness. And you know what doesn't exist, at least in the consensus? Randomness. Most scientists don't believe that randomness is possible. So if there are equations that are probabilistic but not random, then they must be decisions, as that's the natural alternative to explain why there is an inequality here, rather than inequality and still not be random. Thank you, dear Hybrid Jen, for your pair of roses. Undum Durgai Namaha. You like virtual particles, dear Gregor G? It's a fun topic. Hello, dear Robbie. You share you've been struggling lately with negative feelings and emotions. What do you do to combat that? That's the catch. What do you do to combat that? Actually, the discomfort doesn't actually come from any of our emotions. When we're feeling one way, the uneasiness is from the resistance, because we want to combat or fight or get rid of or destroy, or all of these destructive or oppositional feelings we have with our feelings. And it's so subtle, we don't even realize we're doing this. We have a feeling arise, and then we want to fight the feeling, but it's the fight with the feeling that is causing the discomfort. So, try switching the vocabulary and see how big of an effect that surprisingly has. Instead of trying to combat negative feelings, could you imagine befriending or loving or learning to understand or accepting, etc.? Now that immediately creates positive feeling. Ultimately, you need to allow yourself to feel the way you are. And it's almost embarrassingly simple sometimes, where we're sad, but we're not allowing ourselves to be sad. But the moment you go, yeah, I'm sad in this moment, and it's okay that I'm sad, you feel so much better. So the feeling of betterness is not necessarily what comes after the sadness leaves, but when the acceptance comes, and the sadness can still be there, or the frustration, or the anger, or the fear, or the guilt, or whatever the feeling is, that can be there. But as soon as acceptance comes, a kind of sinking into that feeling, allowing it to be there, then there's no more struggle. Thank you, dear Andrea, for your ice cream cone. Om Kamalir Maha Kali Kayin Namaha. Dear Coney, you share that you feel good inspiring existence to exist harmoniously through Source. Do I believe a philosophy major will expand your practical ability to do so? Absolutely. Yeah. If you have that intention, then you could major in pretty much anything, and that will help you make that intention manifest. Ultimately, it's what you choose to do with your major that makes it meaningful or purposeful. You could equivalently do that through art, you could do it through academia, you could do it through culinary science. But if your calling is to do so through philosophy, then perhaps that's the most efficient way for you to be able to manifest that dream. Lisa, welcome. You share, you remember flying down the stairs when you were a kid. Were you astral projecting or lucid dreaming? I don't know, but I do remember that I would try to see what's the highest step that I could jump down from. You know, I'd go up 1 step and I'd jump down. I'd go up 2 steps and I'd jump down 3 steps. You know, after 4 steps, I was basically flying down. Well, flying until you hit the ground. Which is still flying, it's just a poor landing, isn't it? Or I'd hold on to the railing and I'd slide down. Or when Christmas morning happened, I'd basically fly down the staircase. I was so happy. Good times. I kind of have a permanent memory of that because one of my stuffed animals that I've had since I was a little one, I would take with me as I jumped down the staircase. And my stuffed animal had glass eyes. And so the glass eyes are all chipped because of the amount of times I'd fall on the floor with it from doing that. And so that's a nice reminder. Dear Rod, and welcome ASMR Stephanie. You ask, agency is an illusion or a contingent phenomenon, or maybe it's a statement that agency is an illusion or a contingent phenomenon. Depends from where we're looking. If you are looking from the standpoint of matter, then there is nothing in this universe that you have control over or agency over. But if you are looking from the standpoint of source, there is nothing in this universe that you don't have agency over. Waterwind, you ask, have I tried ayahuasca? No, I find life's already a trip. You ever look at a really cool flower? Or do you ever look at the patterns in the clouds, or watch as the wind ripples over a field? Or just think about all the weird things that humans do? My goodness. I wake up, I'm already tripping at the fact that I have another day. Pretty mystical. Dear Dean, you ask, are one's prescribed duties obvious or elusive? That's a great question. There are certainly some duties that are pretty obvious. For example, we have a duty to everyone else that we coexist with because we share the same planet. Therefore, we have to find ways of supporting each other. But the way in which you specifically pursue that, that's unique to your inclinations. And maybe it takes many years for you to really discover what your inclinations are. Or maybe you've always known, but that might not be so obvious. Thank you, dear Leo. Welcome, Frederick Resilience. Thank you, dear JV, for your pumpkin spice latte, bubble tea, disco love cake, and ice cream. Hare Krishna. Welcome, dear Natalia. You love the music? Welcome to Jazz Wednesday. Dear Billy, You ask, will I be traveling tomorrow or staying home? Oh wait, does Canada do Thanksgiving? We do Thanksgiving, but we do so, we already did so last month. Or is it September? I forget. We already did it a few months ago. Yeah. We have a Thanksgiving. It's for a different reason. It's not tied, as far as I know, to the pilgrims that the Americans associated with. So that's why there's a different date. But we do have a national holiday which is dedicated to being grateful and having nice big dinners and stuff. I forget myself what date it was, but it was several weeks ago. Months ago. Thank you, dear Frederick Resilience, for your rose. Radhe, Radhe. And dear Marcy, thank you for your Gigi. Om Namah Shivaya. I appreciate your empathy for all the turkeys, dear Sky Guardian. Dear Kev, you ask, do I practice all the gift names? The names of the people who gift? Well, I try my best to pronounce them. And if I can ask the person how I can pronounce their name better, I try to remember to do so also. Or you were wondering about the names of the gifts. The names of the gifts are on my screen. They tell me what the names are. Yeah, but I probably would be able to do reasonably well even if they didn't, which is a privilege. Dear Doxy, you had asked, how can you become more intelligent? You always feel so behind everyone else because you're not as smart. I'm sure you are just as smart, but your intelligence is delegated in a different way. Like when you play a video game and you put your skill points into different parts in your skill tree. It's all intelligence. There's more than just logical intelligence. There's spatial intelligence, being able to find your way around a town or forest. There's interpersonal intelligence, being able to effectively communicate and have relationships. There's emotional intelligence. That's a big one. The ability to manage how you're feeling, whatnot. There's an intelligence in everything. But it's wonderful that you look up to others around you as having an experience in something that you don't, which is true. Everyone has an experience that we can learn from, and that includes you. There are things that you have experienced that those smart people around you have not, and they can learn from you too. And the more we can look up to each other, the more we naturally absorb some of their experience. But honestly, if you really want to become more intelligent in anything, I think the biggest qualification is believing in yourself. Many people know me as having a love and aspiration for mathematics, but that didn't happen immediately. For most of my education system, and we're talking from the middle of middle school, elementary school, I hated math class because I didn't believe in myself. I had identified as someone who couldn't do math. But at some point that changed. And the moment I said I could, then I started understanding. And I think we put the cart before the bull sometimes. That we wait until we understand, until we identify as being capable. But I think we have to first recognize our capability, and then we begin to understand. Thank you, dear Babel Fishy, for your tiny. Yippee! Suthmurk, which is how I pronounce STH.MRK. You ask, can I astral travel? Of course, we're always doing so, even in this moment. Whenever you use your imagination, you're accessing, the astral plane, also known as the dream world, or most formally, the subtle body, the sukshma. If you can close your eyes and visualize, you are doing so right now. And thank you, dear Alex, for your subscription and your rosa. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Good night, dear Robbie. Oh, that's sweet, dear Kev. Nick, you share that math was your worst subject, but the teacher was cool. That helps. Very difficult is it to learn from an uncool teacher. Unless you are dedicated. But if you're not dedicated, then it's practically impossible. Dear Alex, you ask if I have any advice for panic attacks. You have for 1 year, and it's getting tired. That makes sense. Actually, that might be a good thing. You can exhaust yourself out of giving energy into the panic attacks, and that's something I've experienced. I have had a lot of anxiety, and sometimes when that anxiety begins to tire me, I stop caring so much, because I realize part of the energy comes from what I choose to give into the sensation. It requires energy on our part too. If you just don't give that energy to the sensation, you'll find a huge chunk of it just goes away. For example, many times now, I'll have done a whole day of living, and then near the end of the day, my thoughts begin to become more anxious. But by that point, sometimes I remember that I shouldn't trust my thoughts after 9 p.m. And I go, it's an anxious thought. I don't care. I don't care enough to give attention to that anxious thought. And it's surprisingly effective. When we do have energy, when we're not tuckered out, it is more difficult, because there is a compulsiveness to give our energy into these anxiety-producing thoughts. What we can do instead is try to distract ourselves as best as we can, or to use a better word than distract, differently situate our attention, shift our perspective to something else. Engage yourself in something small, even if it's writing the alphabet, which is something that I actually did. Not the English alphabet, I was learning the Sanskrit alphabet, and it really helped. When I was feeling anxious, I'd get a piece of paper, I'd sit down, I'd get a pen, and I'd just start doing the letters. And for the first however many letters, I'd be terrified, I'd feel existential dread, and then every now and then I'd feel a small glimpse of hope that things would work out okay. And slowly, the time that I was feeling terrified lessened, and the times that I was feeling hopeful or more relaxed lengthened, and by the end of writing out the alphabet, I was feeling much better. or I'd go for a walk, or I'd talk to someone, try to engage my thoughts in something else. That can be really helpful. I know lots of tips because I've tried them all out, basically, and those have been really helpful. Not giving energy into the thoughts and giving our energy to something else. Dear Kev, you share that you do writing with a non-dominant hand, but in English. I like that. That's a great idea. Yeah, I think you could pick up an instrument, maybe. It's hard when you feel frozen. The fight, flight, or freeze. Anxiety is usually freeze. So instead of freezing, just do anything, even if it doesn't feel meaningful at the beginning. You can take your mind off of it. Go through the motions. Pretend like you want to do something else. And by the end of it, you'll be very grateful. And if anything ever doesn't work, don't take that as a sign that nothing will work. And I know what it's like to have something not work while you're anxious. Then you go, oh no, if this doesn't work, then I'm screwed. And don't be overwhelmed by all of the different things that you can do. Just try one thing at a time. You might as well. Billy, you share some great advice. Grounding helps panic. Notice senses, what you see, hear, smell, etc. Yeah. Try to bring your attention to something that's occurring presently, because a lot of panic concerns something that's out of our present experience. Either somewhere else that's not actually here, or some time in the past or future that's not what we're truly dealing with now. Babblefishy, you share this sounds like Charlie Brown music. It does, doesn't it? Thank you, Alex, for the joy being. Om Sadhyo Jatam Prapadyami Sadhyo Jataya Vai Namo Namaha Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavasvabham Bhavod Bhavaya Namaha. And thank you, Frederick Resilience, for your heart me. Hare Krishna. And welcome, dear Max and Sophia and Kat. And thank you, Lyra, for your finger heart. Om Namo Rudraya. I do have a question of the day for everyone. You're welcome to take a stab at it if you want. I'll leave it up. My question of the day is, how can business be conducted, or how can business conducted made more ethically? Wow, I did not read over this when I typed this out. How can business be conducted more ethically? That's what I meant to say. There. And please know there's no wrong answer. Whatever makes sense to you. I'm talking organizations, economics, corporations. What can businesses do to conduct themselves more ethically minded? Waterwind, you share, make a one world order that mandates employee pay bring a percentage of profit. I've always thought that. Yeah, whenever working for an hourly rate, it doesn't incentivize doing your best. Because doing your minimum, you still get paid the same. So if you're only making how much an hour, if I go above and beyond, it doesn't change my paycheck. But if what is being sold by the business, even the employee gets like 1% of that, whatever. My goodness. Every customer would be trying to make you happy. Being more small scale, shares Talita. I like that. Yeah. Selling directly. And so many middlemen. That's funny, dear Sky Guardian. Yes, the Canadian Post Office is on strike. The entire food chain to be considered, shares UK History taught. Yeah. Properly pay caregiving roles. Those are so important. It's a good question, dear Waterwind. We should be questioning the existence of billionaires. Don't be greedy, shares Talita. A good principle. Dear Riri, you share that societal collapse would likely lead to more ethical human transactions. I like your optimism. Yeah, that's what we can look forward to. Waste management, shares Marcy. Yeah, so much packaging. So much gets thrown out. Have you shared there's no money in Star Trek universe? Not in the Galactic Federation. No. Yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well. And Billy, you share, remember that employees are actual people with lives and families and not just a way to make or save money. Right? Good thing to keep in mind. People before profit, shares Jay. If it harms, it should not be done. Yeah. In Rabnu, you share Star Trek has credits. Oh, do they? Oh yeah, that is right, don't they? At least in the reboot movies. I do remember some scenes with credit. I can't remember about the original series though. I'm happy you love this question, dear Talita. Dear Anna, you share that taxing the billionaires and less hours of work for real workers. Yes, I can see the ethics behind both of those things. Dear Marcy, you share a rotational schedule of work if they want to maximize productivity and profits. What is a rotational schedule? I would love to know. If you mean switching things up in some way, my goodness, yes, so much of work is just the same thing every day. If there was a little more variety, you know? If the people in the produce department of a grocery store might work in the dairy next week or cashier the third week, how wonderful would it to be to know that you might be doing something a little different this week rather than feeling like doing the exact same thing. Dear Jack, you share, if human greed were not a condition, some of Marx's basic principles would be solid. Yes. Very true. Marcy, you share, instead of having a building that is only operated from 9 to 5, have 2+ shifts. Absolutely, yeah. 8 hours is a long time. That is for sure. Dear Riri, you ask, do I believe that greed is human nature? Nature has scarce resources. And there is reason in nature for us to preserve various parts which can come across as greed when it's extremified. But nature also has cohabitation, and there are reasons in nature for us to share. So it's important that we listen to all parts of nature, and not just the parts of us that tell us to hoard resources. You know, our human system is not one thing, but many different things working together. We don't even have entirely human cells in a human body. In fact, in terms of cell count, we're just as much bacteria as we are human. And in this system, there are many voices. You know, there's a voice of reason, but there are other voices. There's a voice of conscience. There's a voice of morality. There's a voice of family values. There's a voice of every principle that you can think of. As long as we're listening to all of our voices, then everyone gets heard. You love that bacteria trivia. I had to throw it in there. I've been studying a lot of microbiology lately. Yes, that is respect to the time constraints of some of the machinery of businesses, dear Marcy. Very true. Dear Anna, you share when you have time to rest so you can do a better job, right? It's such a simple principle. And studies back this up. The more rest you give to your workers, the better they do at their job. It's just a win-win for everyone, which is funny. The more you take care of your employees, just the better they are at their job. Who would have guessed? Only every employee ever. Dear Josh, you ask, am I celibate? Not according to some vow that I've taken, and not involuntarily either, but naturally at this moment I find connection is just so much more exuberant at levels beyond the physical. But physical intimacy is a beautiful and natural thing, and it's not about if one should or should not. It's if you are exploring that dimension of life, wonderful. If you make only that dimension of life your entire life, then it's a limited existence. If you want to go beyond that, then there's so many other aspects of life to explore. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of capitalism either, dear Jay, but we have to find ways of using the system that we have at the moment. I'm sure there'll be time to explore other systems in the future, but while we have it, at the very least, let's try to make it as good as it can be, which is in the long run probably not very good, but we might as well try our best to bring out the good in it before we change it out for something even better. Dear Sky Guardian, you ask, is it because of my stomach issues that I'm studying microbiology? Yeah, but not in the way you think. When I have a stomachache, I like to distract myself by reading articles about things. And so it happens that the articles that I was reading were microbiological in nature, but not to do with the nature of the microbiome in our gut. Incidentally, that is a fun synchronicity. Dear Evie, you ask how to meditate so hard that capitalism doesn't exist. Well, you know, meditation has two forms, generally speaking. Nirvikalpa meditation and Savikalpa meditation. Savikalpa meditation is the kind of meditation that incorporates everything. Even the baby yelling in your neighbor's house, or the cars honking, or your dishwasher on, or that really annoying bird, or whatever it is. Savikalpa meditation, you incorporate all of that. You open your eyes, you maybe move around, you light some incense, you look at a beautiful image, you incorporate everything, and that leads to Premananda, the bliss of the divine love. Most people are not familiar with that kind of meditation, however, but the equal but complement to that you probably are, is Nirvikalpa meditation, where you exclude everything from your experience. You shun the experiences of the senses like poison. You close your eyes. You bring your sense of sound inward. You make your body absolutely still. You try to cognize nothing. And that is very difficult. But it does lead to a kind of bliss called Brahmananda, the bliss of the ultimate. It's just much more difficult. And I wouldn't recommend it. Hello, the gingerbread lady. Hello, dear Will. Dear Jack, you share, in reference to the question of the day, less focus on materialism would certainly be a start. Not paying for more status. It's kind of sad when you put it the way that I'm about to, that most people's idea of success in our culture is to have something that another person lacks. That we want a lot of money, more than anyone else has. We want that house that no one else has. We want that car that no one else has. We want that job that no one else has. We all want something that other people are lacking. That's very sad, if you think about it. To me, I've been learning how success can be seen as the opposite of that. That if the people around me are missing something that I have, then I'm not successful. So true success for me is making sure that everyone is lifted up to the same level that I am. Then it doesn't matter what status you are in life. You could be poor, but if there are poorer people around them, then you still have purpose and meaning to help them at least to the level that you're at. And then you're successful. Even a stray dog, if that stray mama dog finds value in taking care of some other stray puppies, then that's a successful mama, right? But as long as there are people that have less than us, then how can we call ourselves successful? We are caretakers, ultimately. Dear Waterwind, you shared that you have some insane, crazy experiences during meditation, and it makes you not want to keep doing it. Well, pray tell, if you allow me to be privy to this intel. Yes, that's a great point, dear Kev. Do we own our possessions, or do our possessions own us? Sometimes we can be a slave to our possession. And dear Gabby, you ask, how do you feel genuinely grateful when you feel like you have less than others? Great question. We can bring our attention to the things that we have. Because we're obviously not grateful for what we don't have. But what we don't have can offer us perspectives that other people are lacking. For example, a lot of rich people lack perspective of what it's like to not have money. You can be grateful to have that perspective, definitely. You can be grateful to have family values. You can be grateful even if you're in a poor community. A lot of the poorest communities have the tightest families. If you are lacking a lot of places for you to express yourself externally, you probably have many ways that you're discovering to be creative within your own personal life. You can be grateful for that opportunity. Every experience of life leads to possibility. And we don't have to compare one experience to another when there's possibility for us to learn from and to grow through any experience in particular. We can use what we have, no matter what it is, to find reasons to live another day and live meaningfully, purposefully. I like that, dear Anna. Money does buy happiness. You just got to give it away. Yeah. Getting more money doesn't make you happy, but giving money voluntarily, oh, what a joy that is. What a joy it is for your grandmother to give you $20. Makes her happy. Nothing like doing something for somebody else when you want to. Dear Lakonen, you share that business can be conducted more ethically by investing in cooperation with local suppliers. I like that. All right, dear Magdalene has some wonderful answers. Ethically sourcing material. There's a nature preserve in Florida that is a natural burial cemetery. They have pencils at their front desk that have wildflower seed pods at the end of them, so that once you're done, you can throw the seed pod anywhere and grow wildflowers. These seed pods are biodegradable too. A sweet way to give back to the earth. I like that. Yeah, I've seen something like that before. I remember in school writing on paper that had seeds, little microscopic wildflower seeds inside the paper itself, so that you could, after you're done with it, put the paper in the dirt and it would grow a garden. Billy, you share not allowing CEOs to earn 500+% more than their employees. Yeah, that's pretty goofy of them, if I may say so. Waterwind, you share last time you tried deep meditation, you eventually entered a trance, then became aware of a second body, which you could also control, but the excitement of the experience broke the connection to it. And that's your next meditation. The excitement of the experience broke the connection to it. Think about that. That's very profound. But yes, sounds like you are describing the second body, called the subtle or sukshma body. Dear Jones, you ask, do I have a star seed? Yeah, I had one in my pocket a second ago. Oh, there it is. Yeah, this bad boy. This can grow a whole star if you compress it enough to the point that it ignites thermonuclear fusion. I'm sorry to hear that. You're having some body aches there, Sky Guardian. That makes two of us. That makes a lot of us right now. I think a good percentage of the world is feeling it right now, Mr. Krabs. Dear Billy, you ask, have I heard of the CEO who gave himself a pay cut from more than $1 million to 70,000 and made the minimum wage at his company 70,000? That's a wonderful story. I'd love to hear more stories like that. No, I haven't heard that. Have you share there are dogs that can smell long gone people in forests, just saying. Oh, and how overstimulating that must be for a dog. Incredible level of their sense of smell. I totally understand when dogs and cats and other household pets get overstimulated, because my goodness, in nature you have to keep track of so many things. Even now they're domesticated, they still have super hearing, super smell, etc. All of the sounds and the smells in human life can probably get overwhelming at times. You're welcome, dear Tiger, dear SJ. And dear Kev, you share, you think they can smell separate smells, and we smell everything at once. Yeah. Dogs are really good at isolating smells and the direction that they come from. That's amazing. Always impressed with the abilities of other life forms. Dear Ricky, you share, by overthrowing the bourgeoisie and abolishing work itself. Spoken like a true Civil War patriot. Dear Bubbles, you share, they can literally identify the rate of molecular delay. Molecular delay? What's that? Decay, oh, gotcha. Molecular decay, wow. That's quite alright. Welcome, dear Trim. And Manole. Hello, dear Rav. The exact opposite of a patriot. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is kind of the antonym. Patriot is for nationalism. An anti-patriot. Welcome, dear David. And silence is golden. And hello, dear Wendy, Brandon, and Jacob. Welcome, Fei Fei. Wherever you are in the world, know that you are allowed to be where you are. And I'm sorry if it's an uncomfortable place. I don't know your story. But I know that you have the ability to write in a good ending for yourself. Dear Rav, you share that you have a wife exam on the 29th of November. What's a wife exam? It's where your wife asks if you've done everything on the to-do list, on the honey-do list. Most people fail that exam. Dear Lekonen, in reference to the question of the day, you share being transparent with raw materials and suppliers, morals, etc., then consumer can decide if to buy. I like that a lot. Yeah. It's an examination for permanent residency. Oh, well, congratulations. That sounds like a really big turning point in your life. Hello, dear Crossfires. Whatever you are feeling right now, be aware of the thoughts, the feelings, without need to categorize them, label them, just as you are feeling in this moment. Dear Myra, you share that you're breaking free from feeling responsible of other people's stuff. I'm happy to hear that. Will she pass the exam? Asks Rav. I'm not a fortune teller, I can't tell you. But I know that as long as you are there for her, then no matter what, you're in this together. Continue to love and offer space for whatever happens, and I am sure that you'll get through it as a pair, as one. Dear Billy, you ask, do I think dogs can be autistic? Well, I'm not sure how human psychological constructs can be applied to other animals. But as you were sharing with me, one of the traits of autism is that the neurochemistry, the neurology of a child who is autistic is very similar to an adult in many ways. Whereas other people, those connections from childhood may be severed as we get older. Not as many generally remain unless you are autistic, for example. I would imagine that that's probably true for dogs and other animals, that their neurology also probably is very similar from when they're children, when they're adults. The behavioral pattern of kittens and puppies is not all that different from cats and dogs. But humans is a pretty big difference. That's just my guess. Dear Stephanie, you ask, do I record guided meditations? I do, actually. Every meditation that we do here, I upload to my YouTube channel called Yamsox Lives in their own playlist. Yours has to be, shares Crossfires. And Trippy Witch, you relate to your cat a lot, being autistic yourself, yeah. I definitely see that. And that's why Temple Grandin was pretty revolutionary in a lot of the studies and research that she did as an autistic person herself on animal behavior. Because she believed strongly that she could understand them, and her research proved her right. Her hypotheses were largely correct, and she bases them in her autism, which I think is beautiful because it makes autism so natural. Because we like to think of animals as natural, living according to natural laws in many ways. I think that can be a helpful way to destigmatize autism. Dear faithful being, your answer to the question of the day is to think if your actions will either benefit or harm the world before conducting them. I like that. Yeah. Dear Ooh, you ask, are those diagnoses created by environmental factors? I would say they're certainly influenced. But I would not say that it's there's two types of causes. We often kind of group them in together. There are sufficient and necessary causes. A sufficient cause of something means that it's enough to make it happen. That whenever there is cause A, that suffices to get result B. A necessary cause has a complementary relationship that whenever we see a result B, then we should see that there was cause A. I'm not sure if environment is a necessary or sufficient cause for something like autism. I think it's possible for there to be a lack of associated environmental traits. And I think people can have those environmental traits there and not necessarily become autistic either. So I would say environment is neither a necessary nor sufficient cause for something. But that's, again, just a guess. And thank you, dear Usha, for your heart. Ariam Tatsat. Dear Kaylin the Fox, you shared that your sister said and did very hurtful things to you on your bachelorette trip and hasn't apologized. Advice? Continue to be patient with her. And if there are boundaries that you need to set, you are absolutely justified in setting them. You always are, because boundaries are how you choose to let people in. And no one is designated from the get-go to being allowed in on your life in any way. That's always an individual's choice, like yourself. In any way that you can let go, not to forget what happened by any means, but to free yourself up of something that is being held on to by your body and mind, can be really helpful to feel better. deep breathing. Resentment is unfortunately like a poison to the body. Even though we want to hold resentment, it's not actually healthy to do so, because you can pick up in a person's blood stress hormones, which has an adverse effect on their circadian rhythm, their immune response, their blood pressure. It's just not good for the body to hold on to such negative things. So it's so healthy to find a way to free yourself from that. But that includes setting boundaries with the person. That's always important. Thank you for the follow, dear Rav. Dear Sunny, you ask, is my background a projection, a green screen, or am I actually in space? I like your three options. I have a tapestry behind me, and you can see that when I turn off the background. There's actually a tapestry there. But there's a very specific color of blue that I'm using as a blue screen. And then I have a video playing, and that's what the video looks like. I think it creates a nice effect. What do you think? And thank you, dear Anna, for your heart-me. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. That is a clever pun. The boundaries of definite integrals, dear Sky Guardian. Pardon me. Liam is the king of boundaries. I bet probably sets them like integrals. Dear Melinda, your answer of the day. Sorry, I think my voice is going to get some milk. It'll come back. Treat those who you wish to serve and those who serve you as family. I love that. Dear Riri, you ask, how do you cope not being allowed in someone's life? Someone important. Of course, we have to respect their boundary, just as we would want others to respect ours. But boundaries are not necessarily an exclusion of life, but rather a limitation of how much you can be included without making the other person uncomfortable. So, unless it's an absolute no communication kind of thing, which it might be, you can tell me what the nature of this context is for you. Generally, we are still a part of their lives, just in the capacity that they have room for. And in that capacity, we find our duty to fulfill our role, and nothing more than that. If our role simply doesn't, the role that we want to fulfill doesn't fit within that space that they allow for us, then we have to hand them off to the universe. I go, okay, you're missing out. If you are not perceptive of all the love that I can bring into your life, then that's a you problem. I'm going to find somewhere else that can fit all that love. And you go from there. And there are places for you to fit that love. There always will be. but it's hard, and you grieve, and you're valid for grieving. Dear Kev, you kind of wish you had voice dictation here, but then I would read it all. I wonder if I can do that. I don't think so. I can translate, but that's about it. That does sound very depressing, dear Rav. I'm sorry that you couldn't meet your father during his last time in Canada. It's not your fault. And that may have been the last time to see them physically, but every other part besides the physical is still here. If you close your eyes, if you bring your father's image to mind, put your hand over your heart, there's going to be a presence there. It might be quiet at first, but it'll get louder later, let me tell you. Oh, of course, dear Jan, you're welcome to share your insights on the question of the day. Jai Gurudev. If they care, they will be there. I like that, Kev. That's beautiful. Dear Riri, you were worried that she'd never want to talk, but are again finally. And that's very helpful in case she doesn't want a relationship at some point. You had a thing, but never dated. Having at least some form of communication is very helpful. Yeah. But yeah, if they don't have room for you, that's their limitation, not yours. If they are not receptive to all the things that you offer, then that doesn't say anything about you. Imagine back in the old days where they had cameras that weren't integrated with microphones. Nowadays, our technology is advanced that pretty much every camera has a built-in microphone. But truly, there's two separate things going on in there. One part that's detecting video, another part that's detecting audio. Before then, they'd film movies with a video recording device and an audio recording device. And actually, they still do. What am I talking about? They also have a boom mic and lapel microphone and everything. They still do that. So imagine screaming into a camera and you get upset with yourself because the camera doesn't pick up your voice. Or imagine posing in front of a microphone and getting upset with yourself because the microphone isn't taking a picture. It's a limitation of the camera or the microphone. Cameras just aren't receptive to audio inherently. Microphones aren't receptive to video inherently. But you're judging yourself based on what the receiver is receiving. And that's something that you can forgive yourself for. Likewise, if someone else isn't built at this moment to receive the kind of love that you express, that's a receptivity issue rather than a transmission issue on your part. Dear Kev, your answer to the question of the day, or another one, is let's barter. No taxes, no government control, I see the ethical principles behind that. Yeah. Of course, dear Riri. I wouldn't want you to be limiting the way you see yourself based on the inability for another person to see you as you are. Dear Kopi, you're wondering, will Lisa be expecting your Christmas gift? Generally, if Lisa's a girl, girls are pretty good at figuring out who likes them. Something that baffles me, being born in a male body, is that I can never figure that out. But the women in my life, they're always pretty good at telling. I don't know what it is. It's their innate, it's their gift. But I'm no fortune teller. I can't tell you your future, but I can tell you your present. Can't read your past, can't read your future, but your present, oh, that's felt. Dear Litsei Nudge, you ask, have I or will I speak on simulation theory? You share that someone that I don't know, Tom Campbell, is blowing your mind. Well, I'm always happy to hear of minds being blown. It's a wonderful thing when we are expanding into new ideas. Whatever your view is on the universe, there's certainly value in questioning if it 100% takes place physically, or if there's more than just a physicality going on. And it's a good thing to not limit ourselves just by what exists materially, physically. And I value that in simulation theory, that helps produce what's called in Sanskrit as vairagya, a kind of dispassion towards material existence, due to a kind of intuitive understanding that there's something more going on, and perhaps something even more important than what exists purely physically. But I want to be sure that we're not dismissing the reality of people's personal struggles, because at the level of the physical, absolutely, there's a lot of suffering happening, and we should be caretakers to that. Even if it's a video game, if there's someone suffering, you should, do your best. If you're playing Skyrim, I'd recommend being a good character. If you're playing Minecraft, I'd recommend not griefing. Even if what you're experiencing might not be 100% real, still, the principles of kindness and love, those are always going to be 100% real. In this universe, or whatever is outside, that is still going to apply. That much you can know for sure. If you're playing Overwatch, teamwork would be good, collaboration, communication. Those would be good principles to have. Dear Myra, you ask, can I please explain why we are created as man or woman if both are one? That's a fascinating question. In terms of our biology, we are more similar than we are different. Out of the 23 pairs of chromosomes, only one of those pairs differs between male and female. And even then, the whole pair doesn't differ, but just one of the sex pair, it'll either have XX or XY generally. But there are exceptional cases where you can have XXX or XXY or XYY. But generally speaking, most of our DNA is the same. It's actually a very small part that is different if you think about it like that. Just one chromosome of the 46. So what is that expressed as a percentage? What is 1 out of 46? That's practically 2%. 2%. And we're so caught up on that 2% difference. What about the other 98%? Right? I think there's a lot of beautiful symbolism in the fact that there are different ways that you can be as a human. I love the diversity of that. I think we find that femininity flows with a certain ease through females, and masculinity can flow with a certain ease through males. But you can find these energies flowing equally. I mean, just look at me. I think it's, I've got a mustache, right? I can, wait a second, wait for it. Can I twist these up? Are they long enough to twist into little Monopoly Man curls yet? I don't know. You look at my mustache, ooh, masculine. You look at my hair, feminine. You can have both, whether you're in a male body, female body, or anything else. I think what's important is that we find balance, that we find the unity beneath our experience, but also embrace our differences, because the differences are really important. I mean, the fact that many female bodies can literally create a human being, that is phenomenal. This body can't do that. That's something that I revere. Honestly, it's amazing. But I don't think it should be a definition for what it means to be a woman either, because there's many successful women who never have a baby of their own procreation, due to various reasons, either intentionally or unintentionally. And I think we can still leave it up to them to decide what it means to live in their body as they do. I think it's the power of the feminine to create the form for life, and you can do that in many ways. You can do that through creating a little baby, but you can also do it through art. You can do it in dance. You can do it in just the energy that you give to the world. There are many ways to bring that form into existence. Thank you, dear Carlos, for your pair of roses. Radhe, Radhe. Hello, dear Jai Beam. Thank you for your trio of roses. And it's nice to see you too. Hare Krishna. I like that, dear Anna. Who are we? Or who were we? We were two, or two forms of one. It's saying that you share that Tom Campbell is a physicist who explores physics, technology, metaphysics, and spirituality. Thank you for the bio. I am in this body 23. But my mind, I try to make room for thoughts that have predated the body. For example, my mind is informed by my mother and my father, for example. And so there are parts of my mind that are older than this body, given that some of their thoughts have been assimilated ancestrally. You know, the DNA in this body is billions of years old. We have social customs that are thousands of years old. The atoms in our body can be tens of billions of years old. But for some reason, we start counting at birth. But there are many, many beginnings to your being. Some happen after that point. Some happen before that point. Some are infinitely far away in the past or future. And I live hopeful that every day is one that I can continue to learn from and make mistakes. And I'm doing that predominantly in this place of the world that we call Canada, but has existed without a name for many thousands of years prior. Dear Lead Sainad, you ask if I have any book recommendations. We have been reading Moksha. I've been enjoying reading this book to you all so far, Liberation, A Woman's Journey to Self-Discovery and Freedom from Suffering by Tara Lamont. If you want to meet me, asks Rav, you have already met me. Do not mistake the physical for true contact. Two bodies could be touching, but their hearts very far away. Two bodies can be across the universe, but their hearts in the same place. Dear Kev, you ask, why is the book not backwards? Why can you read it as Moksha, not Askom? Because I'm not using my front-facing camera on my phone, but the back-facing camera. I'm happy that resonated with you, dear Myra. Dear Billy, you ask, do I need to preview show and tell submissions? I have a glance at them before I share them. Yeah, so far there hasn't been a submission that has not passed my preview, however, so don't worry. So am I available only on TikTok for learnings, asks Rav. At this moment, yes. Sky Guardian, you share that Liam sounds backwards. Liam backwards, male. Sounds like a demon name. What's the correlation? Male. Is there a demon in Sanskrit? Sounds like that. Thank you for sharing the live, dear Ravis. And hello, dear Michelle. I have at times been known to be more demonic than I am angelic. We've all got both, an angel on our shoulder and a demon, and it just matters who we're listening to. Hello, dear Broke Gumbler. At this moment I am well. Thank you for asking. How are you? Oh, it's okay, dear Sky Guardian. I'm just having a bit of fun with you. But I appreciate your concern. Welcome, Source. I'm happy the Source has joined. Dear Bro Gumbler, you ask, why are the angels and demons on our shoulders? What does it symbolize? I think it comes from a scripture that used to be really common, but didn't end up making its way into the Bible. If I'm not mistaken, it comes from this poem that used to be recited along with the other Gospels in church, but at some point was excluded. I forget the exact name, but I think it had the word shepherd in it. Let's see if that keyword can quickly pull something up for me. The Shepherd of Hermas? It might have been the Shepherd of Hermas. Not exactly sure. But anyway, as far as I remember, it does come from this poem or story that used to be considered canon, but eventually was left out. What does it symbolize? It symbolizes that at each moment we can either listen to our lower self, our limited egoic self, or we can listen to our higher, unlimited, all-inclusive self. For example, if a king was sitting on his throne, he could see himself as just that person sitting on that throne who is clearly at an elevated state and thus deserves to acquire riches and power and thus extract happiness out of the populace. That would be listening to the demon. Or the king can turn his ear to listen to the angel that speaks to our higher, more inclusive self, that a king is not just a person sitting on a throne, but a part of that same system which he should serve, a populace, a people. He is part of the people, and therefore he should give back and help create happiness and joy for the welfare. For example, at any moment, we can identify with just what's going on here, or we can identify with the whole that we're a part of. That's a choice we're always free to make. I like your quote, dear Aller Art. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Dear Rav, you ask, do I pray? Yes, I do. Which religion do I follow? I don't follow any religion. A religion is not something to follow. It's a collection of followers. So you can follow fellow followers, but whether they will lead you to the source, now that is a bit of a gamble. I try to take a path that hasn't been taken yet. I prefer the challenge. This is true spiritually as it is physically. If ever I'm in a forest, if there's a sign that says, stay on the path, I go off the path. For others, the sign that says, stay on the path, for me says, go off the path. However, I try to respect the general direction that all paths follow. And if ever I am lost, I certainly return to the nearest and most accessible path, whatever is easiest for me. And for others, they may choose whatever path that they like, whatever path that makes the most sense to them. As long as we're getting closer and closer to our destination, then that's the right path for you. And you can tell that you're getting closer if you're becoming spiritualized in love and inner bliss, and you're living more and more in harmony with the universe, you could say, because those are the qualities of the source. So if you are beginning to embody them, then you must be on the right path. Dear Story King, you ask, do I know about the path of the flaming sword? No, I don't, but I imagine that you wouldn't have to keep that sword sharp, but you probably have to keep it fueled in another way. Your goofball Sky Guardian. It's funny, dear Kev. I'm happy you find satisfaction in these answers, dear Rav. To me, they are not answers, but further questions disguised as answers. Amatoresu, you remember me talking about mathematics, what happened? Well, I started talking about something else. Can't talk about the same thing forever. You'll drive yourself nutty. Dear Anna, you share. The way you see it, all religions are like languages. They all more or less strive to describe God. However, not every language will be able to describe the same word in the same exact way. I love that. Crossfires, you share a beautiful quote, and I took the path less traveled by, and that made all the difference. I love that. Dear Ella, you ask, can I try to explain ego death? Yeah. Who you thought you were is no longer. And sometimes the process of going beyond who you thought you were can have suffering, the same suffering that we associate with death. Because death is a kind of losing who you think you are. And there is no absolute ego death. You had an ego death this morning. Everyone did. Because if you were dreaming last night, then probably at least a little bit, unless you were fully lucid, you probably thought that who you were wasn't somehow defined by the dream that you were having. And when you woke up into this waking consciousness, that sense of self died, so to speak. Not physically, of course, because who you were in your dream is not a physical person, but something a lot more subtle. When you break up with someone, that can be a kind of ego death. You can see the life that you had with them flash before your eyes. Anytime that we have a deeper understanding of our true self, another layer gets shed. You can very dramatically describe that as a kind of death, very appropriately, very poetically, I might add. Pardon me. Your beautiful quote, dear Crossfires, was Robert Frost. I love your care taken to cite the relevant source. Dear Rav, you ask, how to control your mind when all your friends are rich and they've achieved your dreams but not you? Get better friends. Or more exemplary friends of the life that accommodates you. Not everyone is meant to be rich or famous or powerful, and I know that I don't want to be. I see a lot of the burdens that come with that, and to me, the idea of living a much simpler, holistic, and small life is really appealing. If that appeals to you, or whatever appeals to you, surround yourself with people that can help you achieve that. Good friends will always take you with them in their success too, and no one is left behind. Thank you for sharing the live, dear Darby's creation. Dear Karen, you share, you don't know why you've got this attraction to listening to me, even with the language barrier. Well, I hope it's a platonic attraction, of course. And I hope you are attracted to not the one who is saying the words, but the words themselves. If the words suit you, then they are yours. If you find yourself being expressed through them, then I cannot call them mine, but ours. Why not both? Well, at some point, this body is going to go away. This body and this name, the name and form, Nama Rupa, and I don't want you to grieve. We can share the time we have together, but understand that the energy is something transcendental to us both. And if we can catch on to that flow, then we will be just as eternal. Thank you, dear Waterwind. And thank you, dear Heartme. And your 34 roses and rose. Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. And thank you, dear Brooke Gumbler, for your rose too. Hari Om Tat Sat. I'm happy to hear that, dear Karen. It's all about the soul, not what you can see. All about the seer rather than the seen. And Nok Mak Media, thank you for your heart, me. Om Sung Suryaya Namaha. Dear Queen Rock Forever, thank you for your tiny. Yahoo! And you ask, what made me decide to start making videos? Well, the first video I ever made on this app was just a goofy one. I think most people probably first downloaded this app just to share the fun with their friends that were having it too, myself included. And my friends at the time were always sending TikToks. I thought, okay, I'll make one myself. And then I thought, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I made a funny TikTok or two? And then I realized that you can really reach a wide audience very quickly. And I had been trying to make videos throughout my childhood on YouTube, and they never got that many views. But as soon as I made videos on TikTok, my goodness, there's a lot of people here. So I thought, wow, I'd love to make videos on things that express my interests. And at the time, I was really interested in reinterpreting various religious verses. So my very first viral video was about the Bible. And most of my videos that went viral in the early days were about religion. And then I made videos about mathematics. And they went even more viral, which was crazy. So most people know me through my mathematics videos, but it wasn't what I started making. I started making little goofy videos, then videos on religion. And then after that, I kind of did everything from psychology to philosophy to physics and spirituality. And slowly I realized that all of those interests ultimately led me to spirituality. And so my videos started to reflect a more and more spiritual presence in my life. And today I just find my videos as a way to refer you to something that I could better do in a video than live here. My lives are the main things that I do. But if there's something that you'd like for me to make a video for, I'd be happy to use a video as a reference for some of the things we're curious of here. Hello, dear M. That's awesome, dear Waterwind. I love the idea of incorporating esoterica into video games. Very fun. Hello, dear Donsuela. Dear Eller Art, you ask for thoughts on Reiki healing. I never got one myself. I actually booked one in a couple weeks. 2 weeks from now. I've never got one before. I'm trying it out for the first time. Because I've had this stomach ache that won't go away. And I've had it for like a week now. And if you've ever had a stomach ache for a week, I think at some point you're going to cover all bases. Okay, massage, acupuncture, maybe, flow tank, Reiki. I'm covering all my bases. So I'll let you know how it goes for me. Even if you're an atheist, a bad tummy ache will have you praying to God. Speaking from experience. I've been at the porcelain throne going, oh God, I know I've never prayed before, but I know I don't believe in you. But if there's any possibility that you do exist, oh my God, this is the only thing I'll ever ask of you. I promise. Who is the Reiki from? Asked Sky Guardian. Is it one of the people you know? No, it's someone that is local. Yeah, not a virtual kind of Reiki, but I'll go. It's actually a Reiki and massage. There was an option to do an add-on 15-minute Reiki. I thought, yeah, why not? Sounds great. Even there, a time or two, Don Suela. You recently had a couple Reiki sessions, dear LR Art, and it wasn't what you were expecting, but it was wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. We all have the ability to give wonderful energy to each other. It is true that qualifications are important, but ultimately unnecessary. It's not like there is a select group of people that hold the keys to allowing other people to be able to do energy healing. Every human being on the planet, and animals too, have that capacity. For example, if you want to play around with your friend You can get your friend to lay down on a couch or whatever and say, hey, I'd love to be in the room with you and intend on giving you my love, and for you to be receptive to it and imagine that light is coming from me to you. As a friend, I'd love to do that for you. Wouldn't that be a wholesome thing to do? You don't have to have any qualifications to do that, for example. Sky Guardian, you ask, are they a black belt, level 25 Reiki master? I don't know what their qualifications are. I personally don't mind. I just hope I'll be able to be receptive to it. If I don't get what I'm looking for, I'll see that as my own limitation or expectation. And so I'll try to find ways of making myself more receptive. You could think, wouldn't that be a wonderful superpower? Instead of having the superpower of being able to do Reiki on anyone, imagine the superpower of being able to receive Reiki from anyone, even an angry person. Even if you walk by someone really angry, you go, oh, wow, I just felt the most wonderful energy. Now that would be a cool superpower. Hello, dear Mina. Thank you for your recommendation of ginger tea with orange. That sounds delightful. Dear Queen Rock forever. Dear Kingbot, you ask, what are my dreams like? Ever had any lucid dreams? Most of my dreams are lucid, and it's been that way since I was a kid, because I had so many nightmares that at some point I realized the only way to not have nightmares is to realize that they are nightmares. Thank you, dear John Simon, for your heart me. And dear Nokmak, thank you for your hat and mustache. Hare Krishna. So I remember my first lucid dream, and you can tell what age I was by the contents. I was so terrified that stormtroopers and Darth Vader would break into my house. And so Darth Vader was at the door, slicing it open with his lightsaber, and he was coming in, and stormtroopers were coming through the back door and all around. But then I realized that I could just open my eyes, and they would go away. I'm not exactly sure what made that realization happen, but it did. That I could just open my eyes and they wouldn't be there. And so I opened my eyes, and there I was in my room. Safe and sound, no Darth Vader, no stormtroopers coming to kill me. Nowadays, my dreams can be anything. They can be absolutely, completely abstract, that I wouldn't even know how to frame it in any context that is in any way related to human existence, but more like abstract forms of energy. Just I could tell you some keywords like neon, like protocol, like expedition, but nothing that I can name, no form that we're familiar with, but that can range all the way to the most mundane dream you've ever had of just being in line for groceries, just standing there, hearing the clerk go boop, boop, boop. All right, that'll be $12.95, cash or credit. And I'm just waiting to purchase a carton of eggs, you know. So you've got a bit of everything in my dreamscape, but I'm never bored. Always something entertaining. Fractalized, yeah, that's a great word. And Zgop, thank you for the follow. Your name sounds like some of the sounds I just made a few minutes ago. Dear Queen Rock Forever, you share that in stressful days like now, you always dream about insects, hate them, you scream. How would you feel if you were a beautiful little spider and you make yourself a lovely little net, and then a big, scary, giant human comes and goes, "Ew, what are you? I hate things like you." That'd be pretty sad. I wouldn't want to be that spider. I might be pretty self-conscious. I'd think, what is it? Am I ugly? Are my legs not the right length? Did I make my web in a bad way? You know. Always gotta love our bugs. We gotta be love bugs ourselves sometimes. Yeah, you can relate to that, dear King. Bubbles of realities and thought of a time on a scale you can't relate to. And other days, normal dreams. It's like different TV channels. I think my dreams are like intergalactic TV, like on Rick and Morty. I think that would be an appropriate comparison. Quantum love bugs. I like that, Riri. Dear Ryan, you have an answer to the question of the day. Collective ownership. Yeah, I like that. Dear Karen, you ask, have I ever tried any substance to reach a certain level of an open mind? That comment did come out clear. Yes, but my intention wasn't to open my mind. I think that's how nature gets you. Is that when you become so close-minded to life, then you start chasing experiences. And the appeal of certain psychedelic substances is that they are very unique and interesting, novel experiences. And so I had decided to, because friends of mine were recreationally using them at parties, and then the universe went, "Ha! Tricked ya! Now your mind is going to be open, and you will have to face facts of your life like trauma and empathy and the limitations of logic." And I went, "Oh, you got me." So it opened a door for me, and I went through. Thank you, dear Tan Hao Yu, for your heart me. Om Hrim Namah Shivaya. And dear Regina, thank you for your quintet of roses. Hare Krishna. Dear Meena, you share that you have a lot of nightmares lately. It's exhausting and makes you afraid to sleep sometimes. Oh dear. Yeah, we don't like that. Not being able to find solace in sleep. But I know what that's like. I used to be terrified of sleep. I can't remember the name for it, but there's a fear of sleep. And I used to have that. I've experienced that recently in my life too, over the last few years, surface in a different way. It's about losing control because it's a very vulnerable time. When I was a child, I used to be really afraid of that moment between I was conscious and unconscious. that at some point I would just lose consciousness. That terrified me, the concept of that. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that there is no moment where you lose consciousness. It's actually a very smooth transition that you can rise from or deepen in. And that made me feel a lot better about it. I think it might be the original usage of the term insomnia, a fear of sleep, but nowadays insomnia just refers to not being able to sleep. Oh, I love that, dear Billy. You share that you got Reiki about 30 years ago and tears poured out of your eyes but didn't feel like crying, just a release. Just like the tap was opened, the drain unclogged, and it could just pour and pour. I love that. Somnophobia. That's a great technical term for it. Yeah, thank you, dear Billy. And Stephen. Dear Riri, you share you felt like you were psychotic. Well, there's a reason that psychedelics and psychotics share the root of psyche. No, psychedelics terrified me. It opened me up to things that really scared me. And I'm so grateful that I didn't continue using them, because I think that my mind is so sensitive, it probably would have brought out some mental health problems. So I chose to, instead of continuing to open the door, as I say, actually go through the door that they open, as it leads to a place beyond even them. But yeah, psychedelics definitely gave me my first taste of existential dread, what it's like to question your reality, which is important on the spiritual path. But let me tell you, if you have access to ways of opening your mind that don't require any substance, I would recommend that, first of all. If you're the type of person that is not immediately averse by this live stream, for example, then you probably don't need them. They are useful for people who have no other way to discover their spirituality, and that unfortunately was what I was like. Completely skeptical, anti-religion, spirituality, everything. There's no way that you could have opened my mind to these ideas otherwise. But if you're curious about spiritual things, your mind is already open. No need to traumatize yourself. It is spirit medicine, yes. And if you don't have the particular ailment that it treats, then you don't need to take it. If you don't have what's a curable disease? If you're not infected by a venomous snake bite, then why take anti-venom? It'll just wreak havoc on your system. Any medicine that's given to someone that doesn't have the ailment that it treats is just going to do more damage than good. Thank you, dear Maid Jartai Handa, for your heart me and team bracelet. Ariom Tatsat. Dear Heidi, you share an answer to our question of the day. To not judge so harshly, as we all do the best we can till we know better. Yeah, I love that. Dear Mina, you share that. Is your name on a pun of microwave instead of microwave? Mina wave. Maybe not. You share, you've started getting visions through meditating before you sleep a few weeks ago. It's so fun. Sounds like you are entering your dreams consciously, which is a very good sign that you are maintaining your alertness, your consciousness through meditation, because it's easy to fall asleep. But if you can still feel like you are meditating while the dreams begin, wonderful. Wonderful indeed. Thank you, Queen. Hello, dear Derek. Dear Mal, you ask, have I had lucid dreams before? We were just talking about that. Yeah, I've had them since I was really young, as they helped me deal with the nightmares that I had. Since then, they've become more and more ridiculous. Now it's like the dreams are becoming aware of itself too. And so my dreams are being staged in ways that accommodate my lucidity. For example, I joke not, there's a recurring theme in my dreams that I call dream school, where there's a bunch of fellow lucid dreamers in a classroom, and we're being taught how to levitate, how to fly, how to move things with our mind, etc., how to teleport. And so I'm going to lucid dream school in some of my dreams. And it's quite phenomenal, the kinds of things that you can get up to. I think that's pretty interesting, very fun, certainly makes your dreams more novel. But let me tell you, I wish I didn't dream so much, because you wake up exhausted. Actually, I'd much rather sleep through the night dreamlessly, because that's when the best rejuvenation happens. And I don't sleep as deeply as I could. I don't go past that layer of dream into deep sleep. I'm too occupied by my dreams, such that I wake up without feeling that rested. Yeah, bouncing in outer space on a trampoline. Waterwind, you shared that ridiculous is such a good word for dealing with the universe. It is. Yeah. Mina Wave, you share, no, you never thought about microwaves, but it's really funny. More like the ocean or brain sound. Ah, I like that. Dear Sandy, you share that you have anxiety dreams. Probably unlike my pet Sandy, who is also anxious a lot of the time. And sometimes when it looks like he's having an anxiety dream, I just give him a little kiss on the forehead. And I can't do that for you, unfortunately, but maybe someone in your life can kiss you on the forehead whenever you're having an anxious dream. Or you can kiss yourself on the forehead before you go to sleep. Just before you fall into slumber, you go, You're like blowing a kiss. Instead of blowing it, you just stick it back on your forehead. That way you can kiss yourself. You'll try? It's worth a shot. Yeah. When no one's looking. When no one's looking, you can love yourself harder than anyone else. Coast is clear. Give yourself a big hug. All right. May you have pleasant dreams, dear Mina, and rejuvenating sleep. Hello, dear Sophie. Self-hugs are also grounding. That they are, dear Billy. And welcome, dear Sid. And Marito. Of course. Well, I have been enjoying this live stream so far, but I'm trying to go to sleep earlier. It is not uncommon that I wake up not just in the afternoon, but in the evening. Lately, I've been actually waking up before noon. Can you believe it? Pretty incredible given my history. So I would like to try to go to bed at a time that can accommodate that. This means giving myself time to process what I'm feeling too. But before we go, I don't want to end on that note. I would love to give you all some padding onto the ending of this live stream. So let's transition to our final part called Nididhyasana. Oh, and the song ended. That was perfect timing. Nididhyasana is Sanskrit for practical realization. I like to divide my live streams up in trio. First part dedicated to new experiences. Middle part, which we just had, dedicated to processing our experiences. And final part dedicated to integrating our experiences. So I wanted to end with a meditation tonight. This meditation, let me make sure I'm recording for the people that aren't able to come. This meditation is dedicated to relaxation. Very simple, very easy. We got jazz music already playing in the background. If you would like to feel more relaxed right now, well, I invite you to participate in a kind of relaxation we can have together. Maybe for you that means finding a meditation position, like traditionally having your legs together and your hands in your lap and your back straight. Maybe your back would preferably be supported. Maybe you would rather be in a different position, and that's okay too. Meditation is not about prescribing to any form, but allowing ourselves to be transcendent to the forms that we so commonly conform to. If you would like to bounce your knee, if you would like to fidget with something, lay on your side, starfish on the ground, that's up to you. I won't judge, but yeah. Let's start by bringing our attention to our breath. Make your breath more conscious, more smooth, more deep, more natural, and more rhythmic. Conscious, smooth, deep, natural, rhythmic breathing. It's the most fundamental cycle of life. You can survive for months without food, maybe. weeks without water, maybe. You can survive only a matter of minutes without your breath. Breath's important. You can even survive for days without sleep. Not breath. There is no wrong way to meditate. Sounds like jazz. Yeah. You know, if you ever think that you are dependent on nothing external, just try holding your breath. How long can you live without the system of life that produces oxygen all around you? How long can you live without being a part of that? Just try holding your breath. Not now. But this is to empower your breath at this moment. We are a part of a whole, and that whole coexists with us. Sometimes it can feel really insignificant to be human because there's so much other stuff in the universe that's much bigger than you are in your body. And the time scale of other things is so much longer than human lives. But guess what? Never forget that you are a part of that very big and very long universe. That's also you. It's a part of you. You're a part of it. So it's only from one side of things that you're small. From the other side of things, you're very big. Our breath takes us in connection with that. When you inhale, you can breathe in to accommodate all of the vastness of the whole universe. You're part of that. And as you exhale, you can release any limitations you have in your mind about yourself. And feel the joy of relaxing in this way. This is something that you can do for yourself whenever, wherever. Breath is always in this moment. Allow your inner space of your body. You know, we don't just feel on the surface of our skin. There's also a deep kind of sensation that exists inside our fingers, inside our hands, inside our arms, inside our torso, inside our legs, inside our neck, inside our head. There's an inner feeling that goes along with the surface. Feel that inner space being filled up by the expansion of the breath. Not just the lungs, but your whole body. Fill your whole body, as it were, with breath. And as you exhale, imagine all of the residual tension that the inhale pervades being released to become something else in the universe. Inhale, fill with peace, accommodate everything inside you. Exhale with the outpour of water. Get rid of all that stuff you don't need. Get rid of all that hate, all that anger, all that disappointment, all of our expectations, all of our self-doubt. Breathe that out. You don't need that. That's holding you back. No one ever got far in life by doubting themselves. People only exceeded by believing in themselves. Breathe in belief. You're capable. You're able. You're allowed to be here. Send that into your system. Make it feel true. Feel what it would feel like to believe in that. Maybe it's a new sensation. Maybe it's an old sensation. Maybe it's new and old, long forgotten sensation. Breathe that in. I accept myself. This body is my instrument of love. I can use it effectively and take care of it. You've got this. You do. And you don't have to hear it from me. These are words that I want you to find within yourself. Let me speak not to you, but from a place within you. I am capable of forgiving myself. I am capable of rest. I am worthy enough to occupy a space and a place in this universe that we share. I am a blessing, but sometimes I can be mischievous. It's true. Mischief, always allowed. Mischief, part of the good in you. Sometimes you're a goofball. Sometimes you're a smartass. Sometimes you're a stinker. Sometimes you're a silly goose. Breathe that in too. I am a silly goose. I am ridiculous. I am absurd. And you don't have to take yourself serious in order to live sincerely. Relax. The world may be serious, but everything inside here We are spirits having a human experience, not humans having a spiritual experience. Our humanity is dreadfully serious, but our spirituality, completely unserious. Funny, even. Hilarious, in fact. If you listen closely, the whole universe is laughing. Not at us, as us. A flower is the laughter of the soil. Rain is the laughter of the sky. Light is the laughter of the sun. Heat is the laughter of a fire. Listen closely. It's all just laughter. The only people crying are the ones who are hurt, because either they've taken it too seriously, or other people in their life have taken it all too seriously. Breathe out that seriousness. Breathe in the utter absurdity it is to be. That there could have been nothing at all, and somehow reality said, nah, we're gonna have stuff. We're gonna have stuff. There's gonna be energy. There's gonna be stars. There's gonna be galaxies. There's gonna be atoms. There's gonna be molecules. There's gonna be planets. There's gonna be moons. There's going to be change. There's going to be stories. There's going to be people. There's going to be comedies. There's going to be tragedies. Instead of there being nothingness for all entirety, that thing that we're a part of, that we are, said, nah, we're going to be something. And that's what we are. And what is the reason? No reason. Just being for the sake of being, because not being is boring. It's just more interesting. Breathe in how interesting the experience is. Breathe out your fear of not being enough. My goodness, look at you. You're enough. Breathe in bliss. Breathe out your pain. Wonderful moment. Present moment. Present moment. Wonderful moment. Just relax. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your tummy and your butt. A lot of tension is stored there. You don't have to. Drain the energy from your neck. Let the tension in your head just drain, as it were, like down a toilet. Unclench your jaw. Let go of any extraneous muscles in your face. But if you can't help but smile, relax into the fullness of your being. Relaxation is not like death. You know? So many people see it like death. They're just trying to become nothing. Relaxation can be exuberant. It can be exhilarating. It can be completely full, enlivening. You can love and you can laugh. You can be fully present and be relaxed. Relaxation doesn't have to happen in the world or in the body or even the mind, but a kind of personal relaxation on a different level of your being. Relaxation of sense of self. That yourself can relax. Nothing to be, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just this moment is enough to fulfill you. Relax into that. Sorry. Just be. Oh, it's funny. Sometimes when I'm filled with joy, I can't help but laugh. And the people around me, they go, "What's so funny?" And they're looking. They can't figure it out. And they're never gonna figure it out. Because the funny business is none of their business. It's your business. The funny's in here. Yeah. The only way to share that humor is to become humble. That's why both humor and humility start with hum. And the rest is humbug. But humility and humor, they are one. It's funny to be no one in particular. No one in particular. No one in particular. Everyone at once. Breathe in, everyone at once. Breathe out, no one in particular. Okay. We can continue having a fun meditation, but I think that's a great place to stop for now. No destination in mind. We'll stop there. Thank you for taking part in this meditation. I hope it was fun for you and relaxing. And thank you to Ram Dass for inspiring many of the elements of this meditation. And that concludes our Nididhyasana. So we'll be ending our Sangha very shortly, but thank you all for being here. Hello, dear Marlon. You share you're sad. That's okay. How can I hold space for your sadness, dear Marlon? You share you don't like being an empath. It's painful to be an empath. Your heart is broken. I feel your pain, dear Marlon. amazing, shares Myra. I'm happy to hear that. Waterwind, thank you for your pumpkin spice latte. And for your pumpkin spice you. And for your hat and mustache. Hare Krishna. You love my meditation, shares Billy. I'm happy to hear that. That was an example of a Savikalpa meditation. One with the goal of incorporating rather than excluding. An everything meditation rather than a nothing meditation. I like those best. Those are my favorite. I'm happy you like the background music, dear spiritual vibes. Hello and thank you, dear Tattvam Asi, for your quintet of roses. Jaya Ramakrishna Paramahansa. And Tabitha, thank you for your heartmeat. And Rosa. Radhe Radhe, dear Hari. Billy, you came out of your meditation coma. Literally said out loud, what's so funny? Well, for one, calling it a meditation coma is pretty funny. Dear Marlon, you share that you broke up with your friendship with that one kid you told me about. That sounds like it was a really hard decision to make, but one that you needed to do based on where you're at right now. And I imagine that you're feeling bad for them because you don't want people to feel like they are being excluded from your life or anything like that. Thank you for the reminder to drink some water, dear Anna. I didn't actually bring water with me today, but I will be ending the live shortly. And feeding and hydrating myself. Meditation totally made your day better in just like 6 minutes. Wow! You know, the meditation was 22 minutes, but it definitely felt shorter than that. Riri, you know exactly what's so funny? And you know that I know that you know exactly what's so funny. That's right, dear Marlon. Oh, I'm happy I understand. You did a good thing, setting boundaries, and you're just such a sweet soul that you're hard on yourself for doing so, and I understand that, but it's okay. What will I eat today, asked Anna? I don't know yet. Haven't figured that out yet. It's a mystery. Hello, dear Chastity. Yes. You ask, how can you handle anger? How can you handle anger? Don't let it handle you. Incorporate other parts of your experience in that moment. There's nothing wrong with the anger, but acting only out of it, acting exclusively from a place of anger, may not be as helpful as acting from other places. If you can incorporate more and more parts of your experience into your decisions, they naturally become more helpful because they become more rounded, more inclusive to various differences and all walks of life. So when you're feeling angry, maybe you can bring to mind other feelings that you have that are maybe a little more quiet, like a feeling of solidarity, a feeling of empathy, a feeling of patience, a feeling of compassion. You know, if we can try to incorporate more parts of our experience into our decisions, then we won't act exclusively out of our anger. Thank you, dear Anna, for your rose. Like if you are standing up to someone, instead of speaking from a place of anger, which can leave your voice really shaky, hell, it can even leave your whole body shaking. I've been there, you know? Or you finally stand up for yourself, but then afterwards you're literally vibrating. You feel so shaken. It's so good to speak from a more centered place. You can still stand up for yourself that way, but speak from a place of peace. You know, find that place in you and situate yourself as if you are literally sitting inside of that spot, and then act from there. Or act with awareness of more things in your consideration and not just any small thing. Try to be cognizant of the past and the future, of the things you've experienced before, where this anger has led to previously, and where it could lead to now. The more we expand our awareness in that moment, the less we feel that we are unstable. That can be really helpful. Hello, dear duck. Dear Marlon, you share you did not want to break up your friendship with him, but at the same time, he texted you a while back saying that he didn't deserve your friendship. Oh. That's hard. Your friendship is very pure, dear Marlon. And sometimes your own purity can make others feel defensive. Because in order to appreciate everything wonderful about you, they have to navigate through the things that are not so wonderful about them, or the things that could be wonderful or have been wonderful but aren't at the moment. And that's what they're going through, and we wish them well. Happy you like that, dear love's the way. That's right, I was wanting to go to India for a trip, dear Dak. I still do. All of the money I saved up for that is still there. But I've had some health problems and some family problems that have taken priority. So I've been attending to those beforehand. Dear Aldo, you share that even anger can be a vehicle towards liberation. Everything has a purpose. If we can find a way to incorporate it without excluding other parts of our experience. If we can include every part, even better. We need all the help we can get. On that note, I will be leaving you all, on your screen at least, but maybe you'll continue to think of the things shared in this live. If there's any part that you felt that was of value here, do know that I upload these to my YouTube channel, Yamsox Lives, and there's playlists also specifically for the snippets, like the meditations and the readings. in case you find those to be of value. They're there too. That's Yamsox Lives, and it's linked in the link tree in my bio. Why I gotta leave early today? Asks Myrna. Well, I started a little earlier. Yeah, I know you're in a different time zone. And if anyone does want to share something, if there's anything I couldn't attend to here, do know that my inboxes are open, like on Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, or email, free of charge. Everything I do is for free. So may this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya om shanti shanti shanti. That means lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to deathlessness. May there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. And if I can be a better host, please let me know. I hope to return even more able to understand and accommodate you all next time. So if there's anything that I didn't understand or that I can understand better, please let me know. And yes, dear Marlon, do feel free to message me after this. I do want to make sure that you feel listened to and cared for. But I'm very happy to hear that. He knew that regardless of what his mother and stepdad thought about him, that you knew that he's a good kid. Good. That's a good place to end. Thank you, dear Karen, for being here. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to my moderators for helping keep the peace. Thank you, Anna, for your rose. Or should I say, obrigado. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.